sharing some insights we've uncovered over the past 2 years. From the marketing side, I'll be sharing some trends we've noticed around how people are using their digital assistants. We've gathered these insights from multiple research surveys, in-home interviews, and focus groups.
From the UX side, I'm going to share design recommendations or implications based on studies we conducted using diaries, lab studies, or interviews. Those recommendations are based on common issues we have observed in actions that have been already deployed. I'm a very bad person in my team because I always talk about issues. And I'm driving my teams, engineering team or design teams, crazy. I hope to shed some light on what high-quality action means. What are the key components we need to put in place to make an action useful, trustworthy, easy, or fun to use? By the way, any of you do not know what action is? It is basically experience you as a developer create that for Google Assistant. On Google Assistant, users can start to interact with your experience by simply saying, hey, Google.
So all this research we've condensed into 5 key insights that range from looking at general digital assistant growth and how both consumers and developers perceive this new technology. We'll also be looking at user behavior trends in the home and how to best design for in-home usage. We'll touch on some trends we've noticed regarding on-the-go usage and how to best build actions for mobile phones. We'll look at how people are using their digital assistants across different types of devices. And last, we'll talk about how users would like to engage with brands and third parties, as well as sharing some additional insights specifically regarding shopping. So let's get started with the first insight. The space is big, and it's growing fast. If we think back to 2 years ago, smart speakers were a novelty. You would maybe go to your friend's house, and if they had one, it kind of felt like a toy. You would spend most of your time asking it silly questions like, hey, Google, tell me the best dad joke. However, since then, smart speakers have become a common term. In the past year alone, the Google Assistant has become available in over 1 billion devices across 1,500 types of devices. And this includes everything from phones, TVs, smart speakers, laptop, pens, earpods, clocks, smart displays, microwaves, anything you can think of. It's also become available in over 80 countries and 30 languages. So we're seeing digital assistants helping users across voice-only and voice-in screens worldwide. Let's just stop there and think about that for 1 minute. If we only keep in mind digital assistant-enabled smartphones and no other of the devices that I just mentioned, these are still billions of devices in people's pockets that you could start building for today. On our developer community, we're seeing more than 4 times growth in actions of Google projects. And we're noticing actions in Google categories like games, home automation, music, actions for families, and education growing in popularity. So with all of this growth, we started to wonder what people thought about their digital assistants. To get to the bottom of it, we conducted some research in the summer of last year, where we asked people about the value of their digital assistants. In this particular survey, we asked over 2,000 digital assistant users in the US how or if digital assistants brought value to their everyday lives. And this is what they had to say. 71% agree that digital assistants allow them to more easily multitask. 70% agree that it makes their life easier. And 67% agree that it makes their daily routines easier.
And on the developer side, Danny and I run a quarterly survey with developers worldwide. That's 2,000 developers. As this number shows, developer sentiment is pretty consistent with that of consumers. Around 70%, we feel like they are holding very positive outlook. developers feel digital assistants will drive innovation for both software and the hardware, and they will meet the important user needs. We have a 21% said digital assistants are just a passing gimmick, which means close to 80% think digital assistant will stay. Overall, we are feeling this is an exciting space to be in, and there we will see more to come. In our interviews, we have asked many developers this question: why Actions Google? It's great to have you on the platform, but what brought you here? This is a quote from a gaming developer. He was excited about creating very natural and intuitive interaction for everyone, including those otherwise might be challenged to use technology. Voice can be so intuitive, available for everyone, and it enables hands-free and eye-free usage. And it's also the cornerstone for intelligent interaction. This represents the primary motive for many developers we talk to. But as we all have to agree, voice-based interaction can also be so challenging. We asked many developers this question: what does a high-quality action mean to you? And as one developer said, high-quality interaction means it should be trivial, effortless. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to learn. It just should be as fluid as our daily conversation. To me, these are the two things that make me excited about my daily job. First of all, we are hoping to make technology available for everyone. Secondly, it's challenging. We have many problems to solve. I really feel honored to work with all of you to try to solve this problem together. Then for the next 4 insights, Danny and I are going to talk about some specifics about the usage trends we have observed and discuss design implications.
Great. So let's start with in-home usage. Smart speakers have been used in the home for a few years now. So when we look at in-home usage, data shows that it's becoming part of people's everyday routines. In a study we conducted, we wanted to understand how digital assistants were being embedded in people's lives. We asked users to think about their everyday routines and think if they use their digital assistants in them. If they answered yes, we then asked them how. What we found is that 89% of respondents told us they were leveraging their digital assistants during their daily routines for multiple activities, morning through night. And for some, it's even becoming second nature. We found that the 3 most common routines are happening in the home. 57% say they use their digital assistants around the house while relaxing. So this could be anything like playing a game or streaming music after a long day's work. 43% say they use their digital assistants when they're getting ready in the morning. So as people are multitasking, making breakfast, getting ready, they're also asking their digital assistants for commute information, for the news, for the weather, or maybe pre-ordering a cup of coffee before they walk out the door. And last, 43% also say that they use their digital assistant when they're planning their week. Here, we're seeing people setting reminders, adding calendar invites for things later in the week. They're researching locations that they're considering going to, and sometimes even booking restaurant reservations. A quote like the one you see here is actually something common we heard when we were going into the homes of digital assistant users and asking them about their day-to-day. They would say, my digital assistant is part of my daily routine. I come down to the kitchen, turn on my coffee, and ask my digital assistant for the weather.
These numbers, percentage numbers, are actually pretty encouraging to me personally. I was reading an article or research paper about the adoption of the internet. The research said it's the small things that people use the internet for on an everyday basis that make it an integral part of a people's life. Then it becomes indispensable. We once invited 32 users to our lab and observe how they use different types of actions. In the study, users were indeed telling us they have been using digital assistant on a daily basis, oftentimes for small things, just like weather. Those small things are intertwined with many other things they're doing at home. Now, how should we design the most engaging actions for people's homes that can be embedded into people's daily routines? At the first encounter, action needs to meet the user expectations. In our lab studies, we can see users will very quickly abandon the action if they cannot easily figure out how to use it. The first step is, oh, how am I going to use this? Then they also carry expectations for brands they're already familiar with. An example would be if it's a TED or CNN talk or action, then they very much expect to see videos on the smart display. If they're already using your services on the web or on mobile apps, at this first encounter, they expect to see some familiarity, some familiar things that you get things done. So, like if we order a pizza or call a ride. At that first moment, encounter moment, you do not want the user to feel any kind of disappointment or they feel they're totally lost. Then for next steps, users will try to assess, does this action provide the right utility or values? Is this something I want to use? We find that users carry the mental model of a signature functionality, especially for brands they are familiar with. So for example, our research colleagues in Google Maps team studied the user interaction for Google Maps and Waze through Assistant. Those are similar apps. We know they provide similar functionalities. But for Google Maps, the user's signature functionality is to ask for directions. Then switch to Waze, it becomes to report accident via voice. So I know many of you probably focus on voice only. You are creating brand new experience on this platform. Then signature functionality is something that will get users excited. That's something they want to talk about, or it will catch the attention from maybe on social media or from the product emails they have received. Some experiences are designed across multiple devices. Users can start from smart speakers, for example, then continue onto mobile phones. But for signature functionality, do not do that. Breaking it across multiple devices will break the flow and violate the user trust. Users definitely then compare what they have, compare action to what they have on other devices, especially on the mobile app. They appreciate actions that provide convenience beyond those solutions. At this stage, we see really they are attracted to quick solutions that allow them to get things done, especially when hands-free. So for this example, this user has lived in different states, and he wants to keep up with what's going on at all those different places. Then radio action allows him really to easily get to those stations just by saying the name of the stations. Overall, we need to create aha moments, and the users see it, oh, that's interesting, and then I want to give it a try, and then they immediately can say, oh, this is better than what I have on other devices. Navigation with voice only, or now with a combination of voice and visuals are still very new. It's very common for users to find it hard to talk to digital assistants. Oftentimes, users brand themselves. It's very common in usability studies, users brand themselves. Oh, I just don't know the right term to use. But as this one more savvy user said, technology actually needs to learn how to communicate better with users. For one example, in action we tested, the action asked for input for income. Then the user would jokingly say, income in millions, I have made millions. But then the action won't be able to take it. The user reaction was, what? How am I supposed to know you have these hidden rules? In another example, a user was keep asking the action, can you do this? The action was very apologetic. Sorry, I cannot do this. Then can you do this? Sorry, I cannot do this. Can you do this? No, cannot do this. So it became a guess and a check kind of sequences. At no point did the action actually provide something, oh, I can do this for you. So a better design would be the action can be more intelligent and maybe provide some prediction based on the question user asked and offer, hey, I can do this for you. When error happens, please kind of remember users oftentimes do not know what's going on. Is it because I did not say the right thing? Or is it because the device or assistant does not recognize me correctly? Or it's just because the functionality is not available. So provide the right error information that can guide them to next steps or help them to recover from error is actually very important. When watching users using different actions, and I was just fascinated by how many different ways users can say to express the same intent. A lot of work is facing us to make our language models, our recognition models more flexible. I have said this many times to my teams, internal teams at Google. We need to improve language recognition. We need to improve intent recognition. We need to recognize the entity better, or we need to recognize all the proper names better. And obviously, users do not like to get stuck at any step in the flows. In one example, the action was offered, given a list of options. I can do this, this, this for you. What do you want? The user said, nothing. And then the action said again, I can do this, repeat. I can do this, this, this for you. The user said, I already said nothing. So what action should do at that step? As you all may know, users do not like tree navigation structure. They want to easily go back or forward, go back to the very beginning to start all over again, or at any point they want to start a new conversations. So again, think about what Danny said about daily routines. During those times, users are either busy, they are multitasking, or they just want to enjoy the time with their families. It is important from the beginning, your action can catch the attention. Then throughout the conversation, maintain that attention. So users have a little patience to learn at the beginning, and with voice, they actually have a very little patience to try to make it work.
But in the home is not the only places where we're seeing behavior change. As we said earlier, we saw the popularity of smart speakers, we noticed the emergence of routines, and now we're noticing a new trend, which is on the go on mobile phones. We wanted to understand how and where people were using their digital assistants on the phone, so we ran a survey. And we saw that 76% of smartphone digital assistant use cases are outside of the home. And when we asked people where you're using your digital assistant, we heard everything from while I'm out and about walking, running errands, while I'm at work, or even when I'm working out. But probably the most interesting part of this is that out of these 76%, 54% of these are in the car. Because when you're driving or stuck in traffic, it's really convenient to have a hands-free way to access your phone. While talking to people who rely on their digital assistants on the phone, we even heard quotes like this one. I love how mobile it is. My digital assistant goes with me everywhere, at the beach, in an elevator, walking, and so on. But with people using their digital assistants on the phone, we have started to hear both from developers as well as from end users desires to connect between their apps and their assistants since they both do live on the phone. So let's take a deeper look into this need.
Yeah, recently we conducted a study about how apps and the digital assistant should interact. In the diary study, we asked users to spend 4 days to document what they're doing, what are they doing with their phone's apps, and what kind of tasks they want to complete. Then afterwards, another 4 days, we asked them to document the moments that which digital assistant could help you better using those apps. So on this chart, on the left side, you can see users are using their mobile apps to perform a wide range of tasks. Then on the right side, those are digital assistant wishes. We call them wishes. And they're not available, but can you imagine how digital assistant can help you to better interact with your apps? And we can see that those wishes are widely spread across also different verticals of experiences. This data shows that users want digital assistant to help them with all aspects of their daily tasks on their phone. The main areas top areas are money or financial management, then shopping, and entertainment. We put those digital assistant wishes or use cases into different categories. And close to 70% were about getting things done very quickly via the apps, mobile apps. So about 30% about voice commands. Users want to tell an app via voice to do something. For example, would be, OK, Google, start my run. OK, Google, send this picture to Instagram, or share this article with my wife. Then 25% about queries. Queries is just about getting the information from the app without taking out the phone and launch the app. So it would be, hey, what's my balance in my credit card bill? And how much I have left, how much charge I have left in my Tesla car. And then they also design for perform quick transactions. For example, just order my coffee, order my usual, and or pay my bill. So there's some financial-related quick transaction, or using voice to get a sequence of steps done to maybe order my pizza. I want to tell the assistant what type of pizzas I want. Further, users also want assistant to proactively work with them and bring actions or information to them without them actually asking for it. So proactive assistant means that the assistant notices the context the user is in and then proactively offer suggestions or helps. An example would be in the car. Every day you do similar things in your car. You have time during the commute. So maybe notice you're in the car, and then it launches your navigation map and tell you how much time it will take for you to get to work, and launch your podcast or music or audiobooks. So a sequence of events can happen together by via assistant. And if you're in the store shopping, they want assistant to bring up the shopping assistant app so they can immediately see the shopping list. Smart compile means that they want the assistant to work across maybe multiple apps, and then all work within the app to pull information, summarize it, and then bring meaningful insight to them. Example would be shopping. I'm interested in this designer's purse. Can you look across my multiple shopping apps and then offer me the best price? So implications for design for the on-go usage. Similar to home settings, users are looking for very fast solutions, or they simply want to save time. Or for shopping-related cases, they want to save money. So with either app actions we just announced at the keynotes or conversation actions many of you have already worked on, you can allow users to use voice to complete important tasks on the go, or allow them to quickly get information either from the app or from other sources. As this one user said, it is very useful to get status information from my app without taking out my phone, and then it takes several steps to launch the app, get out the phone, and then find the app. We can think deeply on where we can reduce steps for users for interaction flows. Users have told us they actually want help not necessarily with the apps they frequently use. The help can happen with apps they do not use very frequently, and they forgot where the app is, so you can help me to find that app, or with functionality they do not use all the time. Then they forget within your app where that is, and then using voice, I actually can find it easily. Respect user effort means simply do not waste the user's time. We have seen that some actions ask users for many steps of inputs. Where's your address? Where's your zip code? What type of things you want to order? And then at the end, sorry, I cannot do anything because you have not linked the account yet. So users are usually very mad at those moments. They felt they have been led to a dead end. And we could see at those kind of moments they will give up. They will abandon the action. So this just, I will not try again. It should minimize requests for inputs. Maybe as we become more intelligent on the action side, on the assistant side, we should try to source information as much as possible without asking users. Any points, the more questions you ask, the more likely they're going to drop. By all means, avoid asking same kind of information, same inputs at the same conversation session. We have seen that. You just ask these questions, exact same question. I have even not dropped off. You ask again.
So we've seen both in the home and on-the-go usage trends, but we know that people don't just say to one or the other. They occupy both spaces. So for our fourth insight, we've also found that digital assistants don't just live in an isolated space or device. What does this mean? If you think of an app, you by default think of a phone, because that's where they live. Or if you think of a TV, you'll think of your living room. But when we think of digital assistants, you can really access them across all types of devices and trigger them anywhere. And with this, of course, comes a new set of challenge. In our aim with our team to understand how we can make the product better as people are going from one device to the next, we took a look at the devices that people were using when they were triggering their digital assistants, and a little bit of what they expect when they go between them. We first asked users what devices they already owned that had built-in voice-activated digital assistants. And after, we asked them which ones they were actively using. What we found is that more than 1/3 of digital assistant users are reaching out to talk to their digital assistants on tablets and laptops, and almost 1/3 are doing it on TVs. Now, this, to us, was really interesting. We had almost assumed that if you were on a laptop and you had a question, you would just open up a new tab and ask for it there, as that would make sense. But what we saw instead was something like this. If I'm working from home, instead of typing, what's another word for kimono, I'll just ask my digital assistant. It's slightly faster than opening up a new browser. So they're going as far as talking to their digital assistant because it feels more convenient to them, despite already being on a device that we would think they would continue their usage pattern. So what we're seeing is that we're seeing a break in their expected behaviors. We also wanted to know how people are going between devices, and found that 57% of dual device users, so these are users that are accessing their digital assistants across different types of devices, made requests on one device that they then expected to pick up on another. So what does this look like? An example here would be music. If you are on the go and you are on your phone and you ask your digital assistants to start playing music, they would then get home and ask their smart speaker to continue playing music and expect them to pick up exactly where they left off. Another one would be directions. If you're already at the home and you're talking to your smart speaker, telling it, how long will it take me to get to work, they expect that as they walk out their door, they're gonna get the directions and traffic information on their phone. We've heard over and over again that these dual device users are expecting a seamless flow from one device to the other.
So design cross multiple products. Assistant is a place in user mind that they can interact with apps or webs. Here are some examples the users told us without us prompting them with any ideas. So for example, now for recipe action, they want to be able to search on the web and then add favorite to the action, and then when they're cooking, it's ready on their smart displays. Or when the assistant asked in this example, do you want me to send this recipe to your phone? The user said, yes, sure. How about next steps? Can you add ingredients to my shopping list? And users expect or they appreciate the intelligence if an action can recognize the user as an individual and adapt the experience over time. Yeah, we heard a lot of a desire to remember users have said, to remember users' preferences. Now we are working on those, and for example, via account linking. A simple, very simple adaptation is about a welcome message. And the many actions provide an introduction, a welcome to my action. But they keep playing that every time. So the message becomes very old. Quickly become old after 1 or 2 times. So we can think about how we recognize that this is you have tried my actions before. Then they also want to be able to interrupt maybe some sessions, and then switch out and go back. And the example would be I'm cooking, I'm using recipes, and now I'm switching out to use music and come back. So resumptions are very important.
Now, the last insight we wanted to share was a specific use case to kind of put all of this into context. And it's probably one of the more surprising findings that we came across during our research. And it's that users are leveraging their digital assistants when shopping and that they want to see you there. So knowing that people were using digital assistants in many different parts of their lives, we set out to understand how they were using it specifically to shopping. And this includes all types of shopping. So not necessarily just making the transaction, but everything along the path to purchase funnel. What we found is that over 1/3 of assistant users are leveraging their digital assistant for at least one shopping-related activity. Now, it's not necessarily the transaction, but it is everything from researching products, creating shopping lists, searching for local information, managing orders, and more. And when we see where they're doing it, we're seeing people doing these types of activities with their digital assistants across different places like in the house, in the car, on the go, while at work, but more interestingly, when they're inside a store. So to understand this further, we asked users how they would like to engage with third parties and businesses on their assistant. And what we found is the above. And I'm not going to read all of them, but I'll just point out the ones that are more interesting. So 45% told us they would like to find business information. This is anything from knowing store hours to locations. 33% told us that they want to receive personalized information as they're used to their digital assistants already catering personalized information to them. So this could be anything from deals, promotions, or even events that may be relevant. And 30% told us that they want to access customer service and support, as this platform already serves well for that conversational interface. To put this in perspective, this is a quote we heard from one of our users when we were asking them about how they use their assistants for shopping. And they said, I was so crazy busy one night last summer, I had a craving at 10 p.m. for strawberry shortcake. I know this restaurant closes at 11 p.m., so I asked my digital assistant to get me strawberry shortcake, and it showed up 45 minutes later. It was that easy.
Yeah, this is a quote from a user who have tried a retail brand and which offers simple services like finding a deal or find my store locations. And that's at the end he said, wow, I'm liking the brand better because it offers simple ways for me to make a connection with them. So how we design for the brand? We love your brands, and so do end users. Users make an association with a brand in many ways. It can be your logo, can be your signature sounds, slogan, and the special color schemes, your unique buttons you have created, and the special ways you get things done. So a visual display provides opportunities for you to represent your brand in more rich and prominent ways. Users also want to see visual content on the smart displays, including images, videos, animations. Lack of visual content now, I think, is regarded as lack of effort. So it will somehow breach user trust and then their perceptions of your brand. Further, they expect Action to leverage the display to provide suggestions, guidance on what you offer and how you can use the actions. Fun and the personality only work when the rest has been good. So that means the action provide useful functionality and also provide smooth navigation. So as one user said about a brand that he liked the functionality, and it also offers some fun facts. I like the fun facts towards the end. But the second quote is about the action that did not provide the signature functionality. Users were disappointed, and then they said, why am I going to be interested in fun facts? So yeah, it's important to work on the functionality and the navigation first, and then fun and the personality will amplify the impact. Do not overtalk, and just do not waste users' time. And they like organic voices, high-quality organic voices, or interesting accents that complement your services, just like Italian accents for a pizza action.
Now, I know you've heard a lot from us today, but if you leave here with just one thing, we went out to the users and we asked them point blank, do you want to engage with brands and third parties on digital assistants? And 80% of users said that they would.
In our studies, we also have ask user this question. If there is a third-party sub-action and then Google equivalent on assistant, which version would you prefer? Users actually told us they prefer third parties because you put more skin in the game. So as key takeaways, identify and enable your signature functionality. Ask yourself, what's that one thing that's most for your users? And then enable that signature functionality very well. Do not break them across different devices. And then actions, apps, and the webs are all part of people's journey for getting things done. Continuous experiences or integrated experiences across all different products will delight users. Design and the test. Maybe design and test multiple times for efficient and guide the interaction flows. Do not let the user drop off during the conversations. And with the assistant and with visual displays, with the personalities, now you have new ways to build your brand or extend your brands. Maybe you can make them friendly, funny, quirky, sarcastic, or weird. I was from Portland, Oregon. We love being weird over there. So as a conclusion, I want to emphasize two words, small and trivial. We can start with small things people do on a day-to-day basis, and make your action integrated into daily routines. Then trivial. Your action needs to be trivial and effortless.
Awesome. So thank you guys all so much for coming by and listening to our talk. We'll be hanging out later at the Assistant Sandbox. I think it's open for a few more hours if you want to stop by and say hi.